Hey family, this is day 53 of our Reading Through the Bible Together in a Year series. Today we're covering Deuteronomy or Davarim, chapters 9 through 11. Now remember, Moses is speaking to Israel. He's speaking to the nation, the generation that is about to go into the promised land. So the generation that came out of Egypt has died off, and the next generation is taking their place. He's speaking to them, and he's giving them a list of do's and don'ts, and here's what has happened in your past, and here's what's going to happen in your future, and here's the blessings and the curses. I mean, Deuteronomy is all about that generation and what they're going to do in the future and what they have already done in the past, and they're basically having to make a decision on whether or not they're going to obey their end of the covenant, right? Uphold their end of the covenant. So let's continue on with it and see what happens. Give ear, O Israel. Today you are going over Yarden to take the heritage of nations greater and stronger than yourselves, and towns of great size with walls as high as heaven, a people great and tall, the sons of the Anakim, of whom you have knowledge, and of whom it has been said, all are forced to give way before the sons of Anak. Be certain that today that it is Yahweh your God who goes over before you like an all-burning fire. He will send destruction on them, crushing them before you, and you will send them in flight, putting an end to them quickly, as Yahweh has said. And after Yahweh has sent them in flight from before you, say not in your heart, because of my righteousness Yahweh has given me this land, when it is because of their evil doing that Yahweh is driving these nations out before you. Not for your righteousness or because your hearts are upright are you going in to take their land, but because of the evil doing of these nations. Yahweh your God is driving them out from before you, and to give effect to his oath to your fathers, Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. Be certain then that Yahweh your God is not giving you this good land as a reward for your righteousness, for you are a stiff-necked people. Keep well in mind how you made Yahweh your God angry in the wasteland, from the day when you went out of Egypt until you came to this place. You have gone against the orders of Yahweh. Again in Horeb you made Yahweh angry, and in his wrath he would have put an end to you. When I had gone up into the mountain to be given the stones on which was recorded the agreement which Yahweh made with you, I was on the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights without taking food or drinking water. And Yahweh gave me the 2 stones with writing on them done by the finger of God. On them were recorded all the words which Yahweh said to you on the mountain of the heart of the fire, on the day of the great meeting. Then at the end of 40 days and 40 nights Yahweh gave me those stones, the stones of the agreement. And Yahweh said to me, Get up now and go down quickly from this place. For the people you have taken out of Egypt have given themselves over to evil. They have quickly been turned from the way in which I gave them orders to go. They have made themselves a metal image. And then Yahweh said to me, I have seen that this people is stiff-necked. Let me send destruction on them until their very name is cut off, and I will make of you a nation greater and stronger than they. So turning around, I came down from the mountain, and the mountain was burning with fire. And the 2 stones of the agreement were in my hands. And I saw that you had done evil against Yahweh, and had made for yourselves a metal image of a young ox. You had quickly been turned from the way in which Yahweh had given you orders to go. And I let the stones go from my hands, and they were broken before your eyes. And I went down on my face before Yahweh, as at the first, the 40 days and 40 nights, without taking food or drinking water, because of all your sin in doing evil in the eyes of Yahweh, and moving him to wrath. For I was full of fear because of the wrath of Yahweh, which was burning against you, with your destruction in view. But again Yahweh's ear was open to my prayer, and Yahweh in his wrath would have put Aaron to death. And I made prayer for Aaron at the same time. And I took your sin, the image which you had made, and put it in the fire, and had it hammered and crushed very small until it was only dust. And the dust I put in the stream flowing down from the mountain. Again at Tavarah, and at Massah, and at Kibrot Hata'avah you made Yahweh angry. And when Yahweh sent you from Kadesh Barnea, saying, Go up and take the land which I have given you, you went against the orders of Yahweh your God, and had no faith in him, and would not give ear to his voice. From the day when I first had knowledge of you, you have gone against the word of Yahweh. So I went down on my face in prayer before Yahweh for 40 days and 40 nights, as I did at first, because Yahweh had said that he would put an end to you. And I made prayer to Yahweh and said, O Lord God, do not send destruction on your people and your heritage, to whom by your great power you have given salvation, whom you have taken out of Egypt by the strength of your hand. Keep in mind your servants, Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, not looking at the hard heart of this people, or their evil doing and their sin. Or it may be said in the land from which you have taken them, because Yahweh was not able to take them into the land which he said he would give them, and because of his hate for them, he has taken them out to put them to death in the wasteland. But still they are your people and your heritage, whom you took out by your great power and by your stretched out arm. At that time Yahweh said to me, Make 2 other stones, cut like the first 2, and come up to me on the mountain, and make an ark of wood. And I will put on the stones the words which were on the first stones which were broken by you, and you are to put them into the ark. So I made an ark of hardwood, and had 2 stones cut like the others, and went up the mountain with the stones in my hands. And he put on the stones, as in the first writing, the 10 rules which Yahweh gave you on the mountain out of the fire on the day of the great meeting. And Yahweh gave the stones to me. And turning round, I came down from the mountain, and put the stones in the ark which I had made. And there they are, as Yahweh gave me orders. And the children of Israel went on from Be'erot, Bnei Ya'akan to Masorah. There death came to Aaron, and he was put to rest in the earth. And Eleazar his son took his place as priest. From there they went on to Gudgodah, and from Gudgodah to Yatvatah, a land of streams of water. At that time Yahweh had the tribe of Levi marked out to take up the ark of the Yahweh's agreement, to be before Yahweh, and to do his work, and to give blessings in his name to this day. For this reason Levi has no part or heritage for himself among his brothers. Yahweh is his heritage, as Yahweh your God said to him. And I was in the mountain as at the first time for 40 days and 40 nights, and again the ears of Yahweh were open to my prayer, and he did not send destruction on you. Then Yahweh said to me, Get up and go on your journey before the people, so that they may go in and take the land which I said in my oath to their fathers that I would give them. And now, Israel, what would Yahweh your God have you do, but to go in the fear of Yahweh your God, walking in all his ways, and loving him, and doing his pleasure with all your heart and all your soul, doing the orders of Yahweh, and keeping his laws which I give you this day for your good. Yahweh your God is ruler of heaven, of the heaven of heavens, and of the earth with everything in it. But Yahweh had delight in your fathers and love for them, marking out for himself their seed after them, even you from all peoples, as at this day. Let your circumcision be of the heart, and put away your pride, for Yahweh your God is God of gods and Lord of lords, the great God, strong in power and greatly to be feared, who has no respect for any man's position and takes no bribes, judging uprightly in the cause of the widow and of the child who has no father, and giving food and clothing in his mercy to the man from a strange country. So be kind to the man from a strange country who is living among you, for you yourselves were living in a strange country in the land of Egypt. Let the fear of Yahweh your God be before you. Give him worship and be true to him at all times, taking your oaths in his name. He is your God, the God of your praise, your God who has done for you all these works of power which your eyes have seen. Your fathers went down into Egypt with 70 persons, and now Yahweh your God has made you like the stars of heaven in number. So have love for Yahweh your God, and give him worship, and keep his laws and his decisions and his orders at all times. And be certain in your minds this day, for these words are not said to your children, who have had no experience of the training of Yahweh your God, and who have not seen his great power, or his strong hand and his stretched out arm, or his signs and wonders, which he did in Egypt, to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and all his land. And what he did to the army of Egypt, to their horses and their war carriages, how he made the waters of the Red Sea come up over them when they went after you, and how Yahweh put an end to them even to this day. And what he did for you in the wasteland, until you came to this place. And what he did to Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliav, the son of Reuven, when they went down into the open mouth of the earth, with their families and their tents and every living thing which was theirs, before the eyes of all Israel. But your eyes have seen all the great works of Yahweh which he has done. So keep all the orders which I give you today, so that you may be strong, and go in and take the land which is to be your heritage, and that your days may be long in the land which Yahweh gave by an oath to your fathers and to their seed after them, a land flowing with milk and honey. For the land where you are going is not like the land of Egypt from which you have come, where you put in your seeds, watering them with your foot, like a planted garden. But the land where you are going is a land of hills and valleys, drinking in the rain of heaven, a land cared for by Yahweh your God. The eyes of Yahweh your God are on it at all times, from one end of the year to the other. And it will be that if you truly give ear to the orders which I put before you this day, loving Yahweh your God and worshiping him with all your heart and all your soul, Then I will send rain on your lands at the right time, the early rains and the late rains, so that you may get in your grain and your wine and your oil. And I will give grass in your fields for your cattle, so that you may have food in full measure. But take care that your hearts are not turned to false ways, so that you become servants and worshippers of other gods. For if you do so, the wrath of Yahweh will be burning against you, and the heaven will be shut up, so that there is no rain, and the land will give no fruit. And in a very little time you will be cut off from the good land which Yahweh is giving you. So keep these words deep in your heart and in your soul, and have them fixed on your hand for a sign and marked on your brow, teaching them to your children and talking of them when you are at rest in your house or walking by the way, when you go to sleep and when you get up, writing them on the pillars of your houses and over the doors of your towns, so that your days and the days of your children may be long in the land which Yahweh by his oath to your fathers said he would give them, like the days of the eternal heavens. For if you take care to keep all the orders which I give you, and to do them, loving Yahweh your God and walking in all his ways and being true to him, then Yahweh will send these nations in flight before you, and you will take the lands of nations greater and stronger than yourselves. Every place where you put your foot will be yours, from the wasteland and Lebanon, from the river Euphrates, as far as the great sea will be the limits of your land. All people will give way before you, for Yahweh your God will put the fear of you on all the land through which you go, as he has said. Today I put before you a blessing and a curse. The blessing if you give ear to the orders of Yahweh your God, which I give you this day. And the curse if you do not give ear to the orders of Yahweh your God, but let yourselves be turned from the way which I have put before you this day, and go after other gods which are not yours. And when Yahweh your God has taken you into the land of your heritage, you are to put the blessing on Mount Gerizim and the curse on Mount Ebal. Are they not on the other side of Yarden, looking west, in the land of the Canaanites living in the Arava, opposite Gilgal, by the holy tree of Moreh? For you are about to go over Yarden to take the heritage which Yahweh your God is giving you, and it will be your resting place. And you are to take care to keep all the laws and the decisions which I put before you today. So what we've seen is that Moses has recounted the golden calf incident and the experience of Israel at Horeb, Mount Sinai. It's the same thing. And Moses is talking about how this is a stiff-necked people and that they're not good people. And the reason why he gets there is because he's saying, when you go into the land and God has you destroy the nations and drive them out from before you, don't think that it's because you're good. Don't think it's because of your righteousness. It's because of their evil that God is doing this, right? They are doing things like sacrificing their children for the sake of crop fertility and all of these different pagan worship acts, right? These are things that are disgusting before Yahweh, and so Yahweh is driving them out because of their evil. He's using Israel to do it, but it's not because Israel is already good or better. It's because Israel is the people that God is working with. And I think we forget that aspect, or at least a lot of people forget that aspect when they run into issues with what Israel does in the book of Joshua with the conquest of Canaan, people that have issues with the violence. I mean, it's graphic, it's hard to deal with, and we got to figure it out and put it in its cultural context, but never forget the fact that Yahweh doesn't send Israel into the promised land to wipe out the nations because Israel is righteous. It's because the nations that are already there are not, and they're doing evil. So it's an interesting thing to think about. And then Moses proceeds to talk about the blessings for the obedience, and that sets us up for the next section of the book of Deuteronomy, which we'll discuss tomorrow, or get into tomorrow. So for the rest of today, I hope you have a wonderful day.